Welcome back to the Graham Stephan Show. So don't you hate that millennials are selfish, entitled, lazy, self-centered, and have nothing going for them? Well, guess what, guys? Apparently, 60 Minutes in Australia agrees with me because they put out this expose about how young people these days are living off of credit card debt for a lavish lifestyle. And I wanted to show you this video because it really portrays a different side that we tend to see here on the finance YouTube side of things. You know, where all of us, we want to save money, invest, be responsible. This is the exact opposite of that. And today we're diving into the world of credit card debt as soon as you subscribe and hit the like button because you guys are not going to want to see this. Enjoy.
It's been a hell of a week. The global economy's in meltdown, the financial markets are in chaos, and it's not over yet, not by a long shot.
You know, by the way, it's going to be a great video when they have their comments turned off, okay? That's got to tell you something, that it's got to be so controversial that they're just like, no, we can't allow any discussion on this video. But thankfully, comments are allowed down below on this video. So if you guys want to chime in and let me know your thoughts, I'll be reading most of them.
Basically, greed, dodgy loans, and bad debt are to blame.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say that millennials are also greedy. So yeah, add that to the mix.
New cars, new clothes, new toys, no problem. Just whack it on the card. These kids have never known tough economic times, so they think they're invincible. But now, they're in for the shock of their lives.
I would almost tend to disagree. I mean, I remember I was 18 years old, 2008, when we saw the great financial crisis. And I don't think I was old enough to really have like significant money at stake where like all of my accounts basically would just lose 50% in value. Real estate was through the gutter. Like, I didn't have anything invested. I was starting out with really just like a few $1,000s that was sitting in a bank account that I was investing into my real estate agent business. So, I mean, I went through it, but not in the sense where like I saw my own investments just plummet. That certainly happened a little bit with COVID in 2020, but things recovered so quickly that it gave a lot of people a false sense of confidence. It's like, oh, a crash. Well, that's good. That just means I could buy everything cheaper and it'll be much higher a few months from now. It's not really the case. So he does have somewhat of a point, but a lot of millennials have been through, some difficult times in terms of the job market, you know.
The world economy is in free fall, on the brink of recession. But 20-year-old Amanda Nabulsi couldn't care less.
I love how they're like,
yeah, the world is falling apart. Nuclear war could be any day now. The economy is horrible. But this person doesn't care at all and wants to go shopping.
the way they framed that. I mean, come on. She's 20 years old, just trying to live her life.
How much do you spend a week on your credit card?
Oh, 1,500?
And you don't blink at that?
Not at all. Nothing.
It's a lot of money.
It's all right. It's happiness.
Oh gosh, man, who raised her? $1,500. Oh yeah, that's good. That's happiness. I feel bad for her parents. Her parents either spoil and coddle her, or she comes from a wealthy background. I'm gonna guess it's probably she comes from a somewhat well-to-do family, and so $1,500 for her happiness, just to keep her away. It's probably worth it for them, right?
Amanda's typical of Generation Y. She still lives at home, has no bills to pay. She earns $35,000 a year and happily blows every cent.
I love how they say that she's a representation of basically Gen Y, Gen Z, basically. That she is the epitome of just like what the average person is doing. She's definitely not. I would say she's an outlier. I would say it's true. A lot of people live with their parents. I think it's a fiscally responsible move for a lot of people to do if that allows them to save. I don't necessarily think, though, that she is a representation of everybody, though. Maybe she is. Maybe I'm the one who's out of touch.
If you love it, you love it. That's it. Get it. Don't have hesitations about it. Don't have second thoughts.
What, whack it on the card?
Yeah, and pay it off later.
Oh, man. So the problem is that if she's doing this on her own accord, if she's just like, I'm spending my own money, and she's blown through all of it because she's living with her parents, and she's like, oh yeah, they'll support me if I need cash. I could just ask the bank of mom and dad. They're like Jerome Powell. They'll just keep giving me money as much as I need. They'll just throw it my way. That's bad though. This is a habit. She can't afford it.
Today, she's unleashing a brand new credit card. Limit $5,000. Wow. Her age group is now known as Generation Debt, owing a staggering $60 billion.
Generation Debt. If she's just opening up credit cards, buying stuff, she's got a problem, okay? Her problem's a lot deeper than debt. Every single person that I've seen that spends like this generally has some unresolved issues mentally in terms of confidence, whether that be that they don't have belief in themselves, they have nothing else going on, and usually shopping like this is a coping mechanism. So I hope that's not the case for her, but it's sounding like it.
I get told off by old ladies about, you're spending too much money. I mean, that's my concern, not anyone else's concern. Where I'm heading has got to do with me. It's got nothing to do with anyone else. It's my bill, it's my debt, I'll deal with it. And if I can't afford it, I'll just, go bankrupt.
I love how she laughs, because that's a viable option, okay? She could just charge up a whole bunch of stuff on credit cards, claim bankruptcy, basically. They're going to have a hard time ever pursuing her for everything. As long as she's not planning to buy a house in the next 6 to 10 years, doesn't really matter anyway. And I tend to agree, it is her problem, but a lot of people want to look out for her. Like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this if you want a better future. It's like, hey, if someone's doing drugs, let's just say, or they're participating in something that's reckless behavior, you're going to say, if you care about that person, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. And I'm here for you if you want to talk. But yeah, besides that, the only person it really affects is the credit card company if she doesn't pay it off. But beyond that, loan companies love her. She's paying such a high amount in interest on this.
This is a generation which is only going to know debt and no assets, and that's an extremely dangerous combination for an economy facing a global recession.
Why does Gen Y keep spending?
Because it's just like having a car accident. You only stop driving irresponsibly after you've hit the wall.
Yeah, he's not wrong. People don't really realize how bad something is going to get until they hit that bottom, until they hit that point where they're like, I can't get more credit cards, I have no more money left, I'm $50,000 in debt, what do? I can't climb out of this, it's going to take me forever, I'm making 20 grand a year, how do I do? Until you hit that point, it's going to be hard for a lot of these people to stop.
10 grand car, there's a 2 grand credit card, there's a $1,000 credit card.
Just 3 years out of school, Zoe's on the brink of bankruptcy.
This folder is my life. This is who I am, what I do. This is me.
See, it's irresponsible, though, that these companies would give her money. I mean, that's the thing, none of this would exist if credit card companies said, hey, you can't afford it. If student loan companies would say, hey, we're not going to give you $100,000 to pursue a degree in basket weaving, because that doesn't make money. It's a bad investment. But guess what? A lot of these are subsidized from the government in terms of student loans. They'll hand out money hand over fist because they can, because, I don't know, it stimulates the economy or something like that. And credit card companies just do it because they know they could charge off the debt for pennies on the dollar. They're going to get some sort of write-offs, and they get enough people paying the credit card debt to make up for people like her that might just end up charging it off. So it's bad business all the way around.
On a supermarket salary of about $35,000, Zoe bought a car, a PlayStation, a state-of-the-art laptop, 2 huge televisions, and much more, all on credit.
Well, that's because she's an idiot, right? Can someone just not say that she's bad? No, you don't do that. You know what? But then again, we could blame schools, okay? Let's blame the schools and the parents for not instilling any sort of financial literacy in anybody in this day and age. It just doesn't exist. Why? Why does it not exist? Why should people have to say it? It's so common sense. If you don't have the money to buy something, don't buy it. Okay? She's making $35,000 a year. She can't afford a new car, a PlayStation, going shopping. Just can't do it. You can't afford it. I just think don't spend the money unless you have it to pay for it outright. The only exceptions to that, buying a property, in which case you buy a house that you could afford that's under your budget, or buying a car. In which case, if you're buying a car, buy something that's used at a good value, that holds its value fairly well, that you could drive reliably. And again, you want to make sure your car does not exceed how much money you make in a year. If anything, buy a car $5 grand, $6,000. Finance it, pay it off over time. I don't care. But you got to do something that's sustainable, and this is not.
$70,000 worth of debt. What do you think?
Why was I so stupid? Why wasn't I just happy with what I had? Sorry.
See what I say? It's more of a psychological issue. That's what I think. Why wasn't I happy with what I had? A lot of that, I think, is because she feels like She has to live up to certain expectations of what other people are doing. So she sees other people, ooh, they got the new car, ooh, they got the PlayStation, I need that too. And then she gets those things, but without the context of maybe that person's in a lot of debt too. Maybe that person also has $80,000. They can't afford it either in terms of debt. Or maybe that person is making $1 million a year. They could actually pay for it.
This is so exciting.
Amanda has only 22 cents in the bank, but she's preparing to buy a $60,000 car on credit.
Everyone is just an idiot. First of all, she is to blame, but so is everybody else, okay? Let's be real. No one should be giving her a loan when she doesn't even have a few dollars in the bank to buy a BMW. That is just insanely irresponsible for everybody involved. But you know what? The car dealership loves it because they say, as long as we make the loan and she can make the first few payments, we're getting paid. The loan company says, well, as long as we bundle it together with a whole bunch of other loans, we could sell this off to investors so we get paid. It's basically just passing the buck further and further and further and further until eventually it just goes on the national debt. And she's driving around a BMW that she can't afford because someone issued that to her. She should be not stupid, and everyone else should not just be passing the buck down. That's what's wrong with our economy today. That's what's wrong with our economy today.
We are targets to the bank because we know that they know that we're gullible. They know that, you know, anything they say will just follow. You know, it's just they're the leader and we're just, you know, the little people walking behind them. They give me money.
You're loving it. You could have sent the card back.
But I needed it.
See, her problem, she's taken zero personal responsibility at all. She's like, it's not my fault. They gave me a loan. So it's like, what am I supposed to do? Just not take the BMW? They gave me the money. They want me to have the BMW. I would be bad if I didn't take it. Come on. How is she raised with this mentality? She'll never accept responsibility. Ever. It's always going to be someone else's fault. She's never going to be to blame.
Haven't the banks learned their lesson from the subprime debacle?
They haven't learned it because they're still looking for the best possible margin, and the competitive pressures in the market mean that if they don't provide an irresponsible bit of credit card lending to some Gen Wire, somebody else will do it. Only when the whole thing goes belly up will they suddenly turn the tap off.
Yeah, that's true, because basically how this works is that a lot of these loans are, like I said earlier, they're bundled together. So auto companies like this will get paid once they make their first few payments. So then the auto company gets paid, okay? They take those loans, they bundle it together, they sell that off to investors. And, investors say, okay, we're buying this bad debt, but we're getting like a 9% return. And as long as like 70% of those loans perform, meaning that as long as 70% of people make those payments, they're going to be fine. They're going to make enough money on that to pay off everyone else who doesn't. So, until you get a substantial default in debt where like most people are just not paying their loans anymore, it's probably just going to continue.
How much are you guys in debt?
By the end of my degree, I'll have around $49,000 worth of fixed debt.
Around 26. Yeah, I'm almost finished and I've got about $20,000 racked up, so.
How on earth do you guys afford to drink?
Happy hour prices.
What if the happy hour price is like $4 though? I mean, all of this could be done in moderation. Personally, I think it's terrible to spending their money on anything like alcohol. It's probably not the best use. But you know what? If it's happy hour prices, it's happy hour, okay? It's happy hour. We'll let that one slide.
I'll be going to South Africa, then to Tanzania and Nairobi, up to London, fly over to Dallas for a stop.
How are you paying for it?
With this little beauty, my loan, which was for my car, and I've now refinanced it, so I've added on another $10,000.
Who's paying her to travel? This is insane. This is absolutely stupid. Who would give her money so she could travel the world when she doesn't have it? I don't get how hard this concept is. Don't travel unless you have the money. It's not that is that a hard concept for people to understand? If you can't afford it, don't do it. She can't afford it. I think, if anything, that discourages her from working harder because she is able to reap all the benefits without putting in the work. I think that sets a very dangerous tone for the rest of everybody's lives who participates in this. Like, imagine you get to do whatever you want, no repercussion, but then you have to work for it later. It zaps all the motivation out of it. Like, what's the part? You already got the benefit. Like, why pay it at that point? I think it just screws with someone's mentality. It's like, I've always just thought hey, if you want something, you work really hard towards it. That's your goal. And you view something like this as the reward when you've accomplished something, not when you've not done anything.
Do you know what Gen Y, how much debt they're in?
Overall, in total, no.
How does $60 billion sound?
Look at this. Look at her face. She's like, yeah, Mom, compared to that, I'm pretty good. See? My situation is normal. That's just a sign of the times. It's different from when you grew up, Mom. I told you. It's like she's almost using that to justify this. It's like, hey, it's not just me. It's everyone else, too.
Oh!
That's you at 40.
That's disgusting! Where's the Botox?
Put it on the card.
Oh, no. Now she's going to start spending money on cosmetic surgery. And then the costs are going to skyrocket. That's not cheap.
Are you worried about the future now?
$82,000 is the price that I pay for being happy, for being able to indulge myself in all the luxury items that I've bought over the past 40 years. That's what it is.
It's worth it.
It is, it's worth it.
Could be something wrong with her, like her brain. You know, not being able to foresee the repercussions of what she's doing today. You know, some people it's said that some daredevils and stunts people, they don't have that fear of just like the repercussion of what might happen. And that has to do with almost like a fearlessness, you know? But there's something else going on deeper than surface level, I guarantee that.
It's really got you shaking, hasn't it?
It does.
Because of what they've done.
You can't help but admire her decision to pay back what she owes.
Time to say goodbye.
Yeah, but she still has the card numbers. You could still just as easily go online and start charging them up. I never understood just like cutting them up. The numbers are still there.
So this is your home. This is where you're
I was born here and I would die in here. It's great. It's great.
All right, so I've lost all faith in the planet right now. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section, and I'll do my best to read to as many comments as possible. So thank you guys so much. As always, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button if you haven't done that already, and also feel free to get a free stock worth all the way up to $1,000 with our paid sponsor, Republic.com, down below in the description when you make a deposit with the code GRAHAM. Enjoy, thank you so much, and until next time.